audience, and debaters. I'm Ibrahim Nasser from DIAT, representing my school in the debating contest here. My topic about the debating is natural science is better than the social science. First, let's define natural science. What is natural science? Natural science is a branch of science that deals with the description of the natural phenomena. Through what? Through implying empirical evidences from observations and experiments and then conclusion. These three steps are known as scientific methods. We all are familiar to these three steps since junior school. So, natural science can be divided into two main big branches: life science and physical science. Life science includes biology, while the physical science includes the rest, for which are physics, chemistry, astronomy, and earth science. And these branches can be divided into fields. Example: medical, doctoring, and engineering. So, what does science do? Science seeks to understand how our environment around us, or how our world works. So this brings me to my first reason why natural science is better than social science. Natural science helps us to understand our environment, study our environments, ecology. Meaning that, how does it help us to study our environments? To study our environments helps us to adapt. We all know that nature cannot adapt to our willingness. We adapt to nature. Natural science deals with the adaptation about our natures, how we should deal with it, how we should live with it. So, social science cannot deal with these kinds of things. Only natural science deals with our living things. So this helps us to improve our lifestyle and our life qualities. And my second reason why natural science is better than social science is that natural science warns us some things, like predict some future disasters for us. I'm gonna give you some few examples, but one general example that all of us know is that global warming. We are familiar with global warming, so scientists have proven that if we didn't reduce the production of carbon dioxide in the coming few years, we will be extinct. In short, every creature will be a danger. So science helps us to understand our environment, as I have said, and tells us some like these disasters. What we should do then? So we should adapt to those conditions. We should react to those conditions. My third reason is I'm going to bring you 3 years back to the year of 2020. Year of Corona, as every one of us know. Yes, this is a facial expression I expected from everyone. This is the expression that deals, everyone is remembering the lockdown. 1 year of what? 1 year of lockdown. No schools, no work, missing our friends, and etc. There was time at this period that we didn't even think about our future. We were we were just thinking about we are going to be killed. This corona is going to kill us. But thanks to these scientists, bring us hopes, always, as they always do. What did they do? They created a vaccine to prevent this corona. This corona have infected all of the globe. Our globe was changed in this within a year. Imagine if there was no scientists to do this, to find the vaccine. What will we be doing? What we will be doing now? We won't be in this debating meeting. We will always be as usual at home, frustrated and watching movies, wasting our times, isn't it? And let's talk about those who were infected people also in this period of time. The infected people was given care by what? Who cared for these infected people? As usual, the doctors. This is a general truth that we all know. The doctors cared for this virus to keep us alive. So the doctors, scientists, especially biologists, played a high role to improve our life, isn't it? We will be dead by now if there was no vaccine or else. I would like to conclude my presentation through saying that if there was no science inventionists, these science inventionists also help the social streams, help to improve our community, which leads to what? When we are natural science students, professionals like engineers, doctors, first we serve ourselves as usual. Then what we do? We serve our community. Either a better chance rather than that. Being a doctor serve yourself and serve your community, and also serve your religion. Our religion says we should always care about our people, isn't it? So science helps us in these conditions. Imagine if there was no natural science professionals, or if there was dominant by social science, this globe will be totally changed from starting of the human mankind from the evolution. Thank you for listening silently. If you have any question, you are welcome.
Okay, first of all, I have to say that that was a lovely presentation. And now I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. So you said in your presentation that natural scientists invent things that helps us. Then what is the purpose, or why do they create those things?
Okay. The scientists try to make our life easier. So I'm coming to your question that why do they invent this, isn't it? Yes? They invent it to make our life easier, to make our jobs easier.
Okay, how do they know that our life is hard, or how do they know that we're facing hardships?
Okay. They study our environment. Example, ecology studies your environment in relation to the people.
This ecology studies about the environment, but does it study about human beings? How do they interact? Those social scientists, they go around, they interact with the people to gather the information they need, or they know what struggles or what hardship they're passing. So after knowing that, they go and tell those natural scientists, and those natural scientists try to find the solution after the social scientists have identified the problem for them.
There is no need to ask people to gain information. Some changes are visible, like let's say air pollution. It's a visible thing that there is more carbon dioxide in an area. So do we really need to ask people that there is a problem in our environment?
If you want to know that if you want to know that these people are being affected, like you said in air pollution, what does this air pollution harm? Firstly, it harms the human beings. It harms our respiratory systems. And after that, how do they know? They just study that the environment is being polluted. But they don't ask people how they're feeling, what they're feeling through that. And after those social scientists, they go around, they ask people, they see the general public. They see most people are being sick due to this air pollution. And then what do those natural scientists do? They try to find the solution. And the first thing that those natural scientists... my second question is going to be, what is the role of natural scientists in resolving conflicts between two highly developed nations?
Okay, maybe there might not be a role in solving two conflicts. Yes.
If there is conflict, we need to solve it. And if we want to solve it, mostly it's done by social scientists. But those natural scientists, they don't actually help that much in solving problems.
Natural scientists, these problems are among some individuals, mostly worried because of the conflicts among leaders, isn't it? Yes? But natural scientists don't help you to solve these conflicts, help you to solve your body conflicts. What I mean is study your body. If you are ill, I will make it clear for you. If you are sick...
First of all, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, dear audience, respected judge, and my dear competitors. So let me start by introducing myself. My name is Saram Berhane, and today I am here representing Barka Secondary School. And for today, I am here to debate defending the topic of social science. But first, before I go straight into telling you what social science is or why it's much more important than natural science, I would appreciate it more if we all know what's the meaning of science in general. So science is just any effort made to understand or to predict the world that surrounds us using distinct method of inquiries in order to construct theories. Or in simple words, it's just any effort made to understand our surrounding is called science. And this science can be classified into two major branches, which is the natural science and social science. And as I have already mentioned, I am here taking the side, or I am here to tell you that social science outweighs natural science. So what is social science? Social science is an abstract science that studies about how individuals interact within a society, or how a society works in general. And also, unlike natural science, this social science studies about things which are rather intangible, but things that make human beings humans. So now, I'm going to state exactly 4 points that will help us understand why social science is much more beneficial than natural science. To start with, my first point is going to be about knowing identity. When we say identity, it's a distinct characteristic that helps us to tell who a person is or what something is. In order to tell the identity of something, we need to know its history. So and that history is something that we study under social science. Simply to understand this, if a person comes and asks us, what is Eritrea and who are Eritreans, we say that Eritrea is a country found in the Horn of Africa, it has this kind of climatic characteristics, and then we tell its history. We say that Eritrea is a country who have passed through 30 years of armed struggle, a country who had 5 colonizers, and so on. And when we answer the question, who are Eritreans, we say that, or who are we say that we are the people who have passed through this 30 years of armed struggle. Those people who have passed through this hardship in order to acquire the peace that we have today. And so, not only it helps us to knowing our identity, it also is like a teacher or a reference from the past that helps us to have a much brighter future. It's like they say, people who don't know their past are people who doesn't have a future. Going to my second point is going to be about social interactions. When we say in social interaction, we live in a world, in a society full of many individuals. Therefore, it's necessary for us to interact in order to survive. And the first thing that we need to know is language, which is something that we know or we acquire by studying social science. So by knowing language, we are able to interact, to express our emotions, to share our understandings. And after interacting, it's natural for conflicts to arise because we all have our own understandings and our own beliefs. But this social science has also provided us with a solution. It has provided us law. Law is something that brings peace and prosperity through this world because it clearly distinguishes between what is right and what is wrong. So knowing this, it doesn't only help us to resolve our conflicts, it also prevents those conflicts from arising. So this was my second point. And going to my third point, it's going to be about knowing our environment. So in order to know our environment, there is a subfield of social science, which is known as geography. So through that, we are able to understand our environment so that we are able to acquire adaptation skills that helps us to survive within that environment. Like Eritrea is a sub-Saharan country, therefore we don't have that abundant amount of rainfall. So after knowing this, after studying this, what did we do? We created dams in order to conserve every drop of water. On the other hand, a person living in tropics doesn't need to build or doesn't need to construct dams because they already have an abundant amount of rainfall. Therefore, they just need to acquire other adaptation skills that helps them to survive that environment. And now going to my last but not least point is going to be about leadership and management. Leadership, management, administration, politics are social skills that we acquire by studying social science. And those skills help us to govern the people in order for them to live peacefully. And not only that it brings peace, it also creates a society who has a common vision or a common goal. Simply, Ethiopia is our neighboring country, and throughout history, even until recent time, we see that Ethiopia has many ethnic groups, and those ethnic groups have their own visions, have their own goals. Therefore, that country is not united or doesn't have a common goal. Unlike us, Eritreans, we all have a common goal because after the 30 years of armed struggle, the first thing that we did was to create those regional administration. Those administration helped to mix the people within Eritrea, and it helped them to be united in order to have a common goal. So because we have this common goal, we were able to defeat them and we were able to protect ourselves even until recently. So these are all the points that I'm going to raise for today. But in conclusion, all I would like to say is that natural science and social science are like two faces of a coin. Two things that make up a whole body, which is science. So all I'm saying is that natural science has its own advantages, of course, but all I'm saying is that social science outweighs it more. So I hope I was able to convince you all and help you understand why social science is much more beneficial, and thank you for your time.
I have really to admit that you are a good presenter. But my question is from your presentation that you said social science is a thing that makes humans, isn't it? Yes? What makes humans?
What makes human is the humanity. Something which is unseen, that natural scientists cannot prove because it's intangible. But think about it. Do you feel pain? Do you feel joy? All those things are things that make human beings. If you consider a human being as a machine, you won't understand its emotion. Like if a patient goes to a doctor, and if the doctor thinks of it as a machine or something that needs to be fixed, that patient won't be motivated to tell them their sickness. And so they say that when a doctor heals a patient, 80% of doing that is by chatting with the person. They interact with them in order to understand them, which is something that social science does. Even doctors study ethics and law, which is something that's studied under social science as well.
What? Okay. Yeah, you said what makes human is humanity, isn't it? But what is the difference between animals and humans? Can you state that? What makes humans humans?
Do animals think? That's just like the basic difference that differentiates human beings from animals. We are able to think. We have the humanity. As I said, we have our main.
I mean, go straight. What makes the humans different from animals? Even animals care for each other, but what makes it different? You have learned it in the previous class. It's one sort of thing. You can please answer the question.
I already answered your question. I said that, listen, when we say that social science, they study about things which are rather intangible. Because you cannot see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I'm not wasting your time. All I'm saying you is that.
Okay. My next question is that when you go to the banks, your accountants are social science. Yes, I admit that. But you usually find what? A person with a computer, isn't it? Yes. So the role of the computer is to do the accountant's work, isn't it? What if there was no computers? How would the accountants do their jobs?
This is actually a simple question. Let's just not forget. You said accountants. Let's consider a company, like a bank. You said a bank. It's a company where they use computers. But who administrates those computers? Who organizes those people in order to take the finance, in order to consider the finance of the society? Who does that? Just because you have the material that helps you to organize it doesn't mean that it does all the work. You're the one who's inserting the data, you're the one who's processing it, and you're the one who's trying to find the financial problem or the financial growth of the society, which is what a financial person who studies social science does.
Good morning, respected judge, dear audience, and my great competitors. My name is Afa Samson, and today I'm here representing Barka Secondary School, debating that natural science is better than social science. But first things first, then let's go to the definition of those terms. Going to the definition of the first term, which is science, which is the basic topic we're talking about, then science is the study of the natural world based on facts learned from observation and experimentation. While my topic, which is the natural science, is a science. It's a phenomenon that we can see, taste, touch, feel. It's a fact that we observe. It's changed certainly, but not probably. And it's also a life that we can reinvent, modify, and devise. So the reigning, defending, undisputed, and universal fact that natural science is much better than social science, that it overpowers it, and that it surely outweighs it, is undeniable. And saying this, I mean that it's the base and foundation for every living thing and everything in this earth. As the word itself indicates, natural came from the word nature, which means every living entity in this world. And so for the illustration of my topic, I've got 5 points. Start with my first one, then reliability and quantitative methods. So when coming to natural science, the natural science is a reliable science that uses tools of formal science, such as mathematics and logic. And this helps us to convert information about nature into measurements, which can be explained as clear statements of the laws of nature. But when coming to social science, then we cannot see a reliability in social science. This means that we cannot rely fully on social science because it's either on findings or cultures that is precisely based on. And coming to natural science too, then it's precisely based on empirical evidences that came through observation and experimentation, which means it's so reliable. And quantitative methods too. So natural science uses quantitative methods for both data collection and proves them both mathematically and logically. But when coming to social science, then it doesn't concentrate on quantitative methods. Rather, it does concentrate on data collection and leaves evaluation alone. But natural science uses data collection and evaluation, both of them, which means that it uses them to prove the data they've collected. My second point, the limitation rates are too low. So when coming to the limitations that we face in the natural science, then we can say that they're too low that I can list them as the technical faults and the financial problems. We can take the financial problems as minor problems. Let's go to the technical faults. So those technical faults came forward during precise measurements. And hence, they led to the inventions of other materials, such as the microscope and the telescope. All I'm saying is that a technical fault leads you to create another thing which helps the world be an easier world to live in. While when coming to the financial problems, let's say you want to carry out an expensive experiment, but you don't have the expensive tools to carry out that expensive experiment. So I would choose that, and it's proof that you must use those natural resources so that you may make your world a greener place to live. And if it's a greener place to live, then you're not harming your world, one. And second thing is that you're making a safer experiment, rather than using those expensive tools and finishing your money. Coming to the social science limitations, there are too many that I can list all of them. But to list some, then I can say that there are limitations on findings. You find something in an area, and you can find it in that vicinity again. Second thing is that there are complexity of variables, there are ethical issues, there are financial problems, and many, many more. My third point, easily tested and repeated. As I said, natural science is of nature, which means it's of natural resources, and these natural resources can be repeated and tested again and again because they're not finished. And if they are and if we say that they can be finished, then at least their life expectancy is much more higher than the objects we find in the social science field. So we can say that in the social science, we can test and repeat those testings we had, because as I said in my earlier point, it's just based on either the findings or the culture that may change with time. And these cultures, they're going to change with time, which means that they are not repeated and tested easily. My fourth point, interpretation and clarification. Coming to natural science, then the observations of the natural phenomena are interpretations of conceptual frameworks, which means that no observation is interpretation-free. But when coming to social science, then the interpretations that we make based on the observations of the social phenomena are interpretations that were pre-interpreted by a person standing in a social tradition. And this means that there's a double hermeneutic at work here. In other words, I'm saying that this is an interpretation of an interpretation, which is making social science a far more complicated one, since social traditions, social norms, and social structures are subject to change through time, which means over time, and with the interaction of people. My fifth, which is the last but not least point, is about the technology and innovations. So the root and base and foundation, as I said earlier, is natural science of everything in this world, even technology and innovation too. When comparing social science with natural science, coming to the topic of innovations and technology, then it doesn't have a single contribution on the technological innovations that we have in this world. But when coming to social science, then the technicians are the ones who are making our world reach this development level that we've reached. Had it been social science, then we would still be in the primitive society, which means there's no development that we may increase in our world. All I'm saying that this is not a criticism of social science. I'm just saying that it's important to draw a distinction when considering conclusions derived from both disciplines. And generally, we can say that social science is pseudo-scientific. This means that it's not concrete science. And when I'm saying concrete science, I'm not saying it's useless or bad. It's just that the theorems that make it be called a science is not truly the concrete science that we want. And we can take all the engineers, all the doctors, all the natural science professionals and masters that have made our world a better place to live. When comparing them to the social scientists, then the social scientists' rates are too low when comparing the natural scientists and, sorry, the contributions that were made by the natural scientists and the social scientists. We can take a contemporary situation of the COVID-19 incident. So when we take this incident, then where were the social scientists? They were sitting at home following lockdown rules and restrictions. And if we ask where the natural scientists were, then we can see that those natural scientists were searching for ways. At least we can say they've cured it or healed it. And at least we can say that they've minimized the rates at which the pandemic was being epidemic. But if we see the contribution of those social scientists here, then they have no contribution here too, which means that we found a lot of defects just in this presentation. And if we look into the real world, then how many defects will we find? So if by better you mean more authentic, more valid, and more reliable, then we have a winner, and it's not social science. Validity, accuracy, and quality control are of the most respected criteria when coming to natural science. I wish all of you have got the idea and the fact that natural science overpowers, outweighs, and is far much more better than social science. Thank you.
A great presentation, I admit that. I think everybody heard a new level of pronunciation. Maybe we should hang out together. You can teach me some of this. Okay. My first question is, would you tell me what's your nationality? What's your ethnic group?
Okay, I'm an Eritrean and I'm a Tigrinya ethnic group.
Great. I'm like that too. Your culture is what you make what you are, isn't it? How did you know you're Tigrinya? How do you know that your nationality is Eritrean?
Not seriously so, because if we take the cultures that we have at this times, okay, I'm going to answer it. Directly or indirectly, it doesn't matter, but at least I'm answering that question. Okay, so we can take the transportation systems that we have, and we can say that if there is a culture in this place, come on, I'm not afraid. If there's a culture in this place, then the culture of the people of that place must know the culture. And through which transportation systems must they transport? They must use the transportation systems that those natural scientists have developed.
At that time, or in the past, they had no any transportations. They used it to transport anything through oral traditions. That is one of the social science, or one of the branches of social science, isn't it? Then you know who you are just based it on social science. You know that Eritrean, your culture, your everything, your style, your dressing styles, even your food styles at home. We always we eat, injera, isn't it? Right? This is our culture. Social science tells us what our culture is. It tells us who we are, isn't it?
We can't say that it does, because you're saying that culture and what your ethnicity is describes who you are. That's not true. What describes who you truly are is how you're made up, and what you are made up of. Let's say we're made up of cells. That's true. And that's what we need to know about ourselves, not of what culture we have come from. And if even we take cultures, then there are cultural discriminations that we have.
Okay. And my second question is, do you believe that politicians and lawyers contribute on making and maintaining peace and human rights? Okay. Do you believe that politicians and lawyers contribute in making and maintaining peace and human rights?
No, they don't. Because if we take politicians, if there are two politicians that don't agree with each other, then they will not reach to an agreement and will use tools to destroy each other. Which means that there's not peace. There's not peace here. But the natural scientists, they don't know what politics is.
First of all, good morning all of you. My name is Hiba Abdul Qadir. I'm from the Islamic School. Today I'm here in front of you to debate and present under the title of Social Science is Better than Natural Science. But before I'm going to start, I want to say to the social science stream students to close their ears, because I don't think they're going to like what I'm going to say. I will warn you before I start. I prepared some main reasons that considers social science is better than natural science. But let me warm me up with this definition of social science. Social science is a vast field that is concerned with the human society and the relationship among individuals within it.
Social science, or this field, has a vast number of subfields like economics, geography, accounting, management, sociology, anthropology, etc. Okay? Social scientists use scientific methods to understand one's society. However, they also use critical and interpretive methods so that define science in its stricter modern sense. Social scientists uses critical or social critical or interpretive or symbolic interpretations to understand one's society, and thus, which may, instead of using or constructing formulas or theorems that may cause headache for many students of us, which make it easier for the learners to understand. Social science students can pursue professions like accountant, manager, lawyer, and so on. And thus professions or such professions are always in direct contact or in touch with the humans or literally with us. What I like about the social science is that it helps us or it examines the contrasted world of the humans rather than just the physical one. The first reason that you should consider studying social science is better is that it helps you to understand a better or to have a better understanding of the mankind. We humans are naturally born with an innate curiosity, and we are fascinated by other peoples. The most exciting reason that you should consider or that helps us in saying that social science studies is better than natural science is that it can help you to understand people's behavior, your friends' behavior, your society, your family, your peers. Through psychology, what drives you to do particular thing, looking outward, and also helps you to have a grasp of society as a whole. The second reason is it helps you to have a bit, or to choose, or to make better choices for your future. When you say future, the first thing the first step what you do in shaping your future is to learn from the lessons of the past. What has happened before, what actions you can get, or what actions you can learn from the past events or actions. That is, history, as one branch of social science, can help you to maintain and understand that, and understand society more, and helps you to learn from the past mistakes and not to repeat them again. The third point is to manage how better finance, to have a better financing management. That is, social science does not only concern the past or the future. It also concerns, or it also has a hand in the present. It helps you, or it shows you how communities or how society deals with the scarcity. Economic is one branch of social science which helps you to deal with such kind of problems. That is, when we know that, or when social scientists knew that there is a scarcity of metals, they started to change or replace the metal substance by plastic substances, isn't it? We all have plastic substance in our homes. Okay, thank you. The fourth reason is it helps you to have, or it exposes you to different cultures. Social science helps you or exposes you to different cultures than you experience, or beyond what you experienced personally. Social science helps you in making everything clear, like knowing your culture, and your culture is your identity. Your nationality is your identity too. Without them, we don't have history, we don't have identity, we don't know who we are. At conclusion, I want to say that social science is more important than natural science because it plays an important role in making peace and prosperity through lawyers and political workers, like government. When you say government, governments always starts before a person becomes a president. He needs to study about political science, isn't it? Isn't it? Okay, thank you. So what I'm saying is that natural science, I'm not saying that natural science is not beneficial. It has its role, but the overall or social science is better than natural science.
By the way, it was a wonderful and great presentation, but I've got some things that haven't digested into my body yet. We'll see. So let's take the contemporary situation of the COVID-19 incident. And if we see the social scientists in this, at this time, then they were following the lockdown rules and restrictions, as I said in my presentation. But the natural scientists were searching for ways and methods and putting great effort on how to minimize the incident.
Do everyone believe in himself? If everyone believed in himself, I don't think any kind of diseases or pandemics can hurt him. Without knowing or without even the medicines, people would be cured, isn't it? Of course, we got some help from natural science, but no, that's not. I'm not hiding you. I'm not hiding you. Stop. Don't be happy that much. Don't be happy. No. It's not. You get it. You get it wrong. Let me make it clear for you. Social scientists. What about if the people became healthy, but with no emotions? Okay. What would you do? A doctor, as your debater says, a doctor fixes a person just like his machine, isn't it? What about the feels? Psychologists help us in those things, isn't it? The role of social science is bigger in this too.
So my second question is that where were you born? In an office or in a hospital? And who was the person who helped you get birth? A politician, an economist, or a doctor? Straight to the point. The answer should be straight to the point.
I was born at home. On the hand of my grandmother. That's it. There is in the living room. In the living room. And the hand of my grandmother.
Okay, let me get the mic. And we all saw that, and it's proof. Come on, it's enough, that's enough. And I'm not mad, come on. If we, okay, let's see the theorems that those natural scientists have proved that being born at home is much more serious than being born at the hospital. And this is so because the sickness you may get and the doctors, which means the doctors helped in giving you birth, they are professionals of that field. But your grandmother is not a professional of that field and may even hurt some defect. Come on. Yeah, you may be, but the person or the rates are too low.
I'm here in front of you, standing just like you. Are you?
Yeah, maybe you are, but the rates are too low.
But before becoming of the doctors and hospitals, in the building of his hospitals, everyone was born in his house on his grandmother's hand, isn't it? It is like that. Don't deny.